snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I'm here to do a double review today. Both of the books that I'm going to be reviewing are pretty short. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about, which has around 200 pages, is The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. This is the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, which is by Douglas Adams, and I read this a little while ago as a buddy read with a whole bunch of people who I will link down below. They are all fabulous and I love them all, so go and check them out. And then the second one that I'm going to be talking about has around 140 pages, and this is Witches of Lychford, which is by Paul Cornell. This is one of the new Tor novellas that they've recently released. So let's talk about The Restaurant at the End of the Universe first. I actually have this in a bind-up edition, which is why I'm putting a picture up, because I haven't read all of the others and I left that at uni. I really enjoyed the first book in this series. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just a very good romp around the universe, very satirical but funny and just quite entertaining. It definitely does have a very moody character as the sort of main protagonist, which makes it quite engaging and funny, and I really enjoyed the first one. Also, I listened to the first one on audio, so maybe that also helped because it was read by Stephen Fry and I really enjoy his narration. The second one I didn't listen to on audio. I actually ended up reading this one in physical form, and I think that kind of detracted a little bit from it. I don't think it was quite as good. I also just don't think the story of the second one was quite as good. We are following the same characters as the first book, which is Arthur Dent and Ford Prefect, and they are a very peculiar sort of duo because Arthur is a very grumpy old guy and Ford Prefect is a kind of alien who has taken Arthur on this space journey with him into the universe and craziness and everything that's up in space, meeting all sorts of aliens, meeting all sorts of creatures, and just going on a romp around the universe in their spaceship and getting involved in all sorts of very peculiar things. I do think that this story and the way that this is written works best when it is read aloud. I think someone told me it was originally a BBC radio play or something like that, and I think that really makes sense because in terms of it being really funny, I think it's more funny if someone's telling you the jokes as opposed to you having to sit and read them. I think the pronunciation as well and sort of tone of voice really can help some of the sentences in this book to come to life and be more interesting. So there were sections of the text that I did end up actually reading aloud to myself because they were more engaging and more entertaining that way. We follow the two main characters as they travel around the universe. They get involved with all sorts of peculiar things such as depressed robots, the president of the universe, and lots of other crazy things. They end up trying to go to the restaurant at the end of the universe, hence the title, and they're basically trying to fly there because they're on a mission. It's a pretty hard story to explain because the reasoning behind why they do things is quite weird and peculiar. They're on this mission, but it's all a bit bonkers, to be honest, and it's just an engaging read overall. I think it just aims to be funny, and that's exactly what it is. It is a funny story with some great moments, but also some moments that were just a little bit too funny for me or didn't make that much sense or were a bit dull. So it's a bit hit and miss, as all comedy sort of is going to be, but I do think that this is a series I will continue to read because I enjoy them when I read them, and although it wasn't my favourite book of the year or anything like that, it was an engaging one, and yeah, I think it's worth getting the audio though, so I might potentially get the audio of the later books. But I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars overall. I gave the first one, I believe, a 4 stars, so it's a little bit less than the first, but honestly it wasn't bad. It was just not as amazing or not as funny. So yeah, I still enjoyed it. I would love to hear your thoughts on this series if you guys have read it or if you're planning to read it. Now, moving on to the other one, Witches of Lychford, which is by Paul Cornell. I'd never read anything by Paul Cornell. I just wanted to pick up some of these novellas because I don't really read short books very often, and novellas are something I really want to get more into in the coming year. And so I thought I would pick up one or two of these, and I put them on my wish list for my birthday, and my aunt and uncle very kindly bought this for me, so I was very happy to get this. I will say that in terms of like the publishing quality, I know a lot of people were a bit unsure why novellas were being published in paperback format. They're actually really good quality. The paper pages are really thick and the cover quality is really soft and nice. It's like a matte cover. So I will say that Tor have done a good job on producing this, and I'm really happy with it, considering it's quite pricey. It's like the same price as a normal book. Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to fall apart if you're going to pay full price for this. So I'm happy with the way that they publish them. That's just a little side note at the beginning before I actually start my review. So what is this book about? It's about this town where this witch lives, and it's kind of set in the modern day, and this witch lives there. No one really knows that she's a witch, or they kind of do because she's a bit weird, but they don't really trust her. And at the moment where we pick up the storyline, we see that there's a big corporate supermarket who is trying to come to the town, take it over, and basically build a massive supermarket in the middle of it. The witch, or the lady herself, who is called Judith, everyone thinks she's just a bit crazy and a bit batty. She's quite old now, getting along, and so people don't really trust her, and they just think she's a bit of a local crank. But she definitely stands up against the supermarket, and she has her reasons why. She knows that if the supermarket comes to the village or the town, it's going to be a massive problem for them, because their town lies on the borders to another world or another dimension, and she doesn't want them to build on that border and let everything that's over the other side come through. We also follow Autumn, who is a young lady who owns a magic shop, or a weird, quirky object shop that kind of sells the weird and the wonderful. She's a fairly outgoing character. She doesn't really believe in the newfangled nonsense of magic to begin with, but as time goes on, the events of this book and what happens kind of influence her a bit, and she decides maybe she does believe in this sort of thing. And finally, we are following the character of Lizzie. Lizzie is the new reverend for the town. She's just come back after a long time away. She's been through some sad things, and she just kind of wants to start her life over. So that's exactly what she's trying to do in this book. She's not really sure what she's going to do with her life. She kind of wants to reconnect with old friends, but she realises that she's come back to the town at a time of tumult where everything is a little bit crazy and people are picking sides as to whether to back the supermarket or not. I actually didn't know if I was going to like this book. It seemed as though it could be interesting, but maybe it was going to be really boring. I ended up really enjoying this, and for a novella-length story to really hook me, it has to be good, because I'm quite picky with novellas. I do want to be impressed, and I feel like a lot of the time shorter books don't have the amount of pages that they require to do the world building. So the fact that this was set in the real world and just had a few magical elements made this really work as a short fiction piece to me. So yeah, I really did enjoy this. I definitely would like to check out some more Paul Cornell, so if you guys know any recommendations of where to start, then do let me know. But yes, I would highly recommend this one if you guys want to check out something short, something interesting, and something a little bit different. Then this is definitely a one to consider. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's that one. Do let me know if you've read either of the ones I mentioned, or if you've been reading any shorter fiction recently, because I'd love to get a few more recommendations. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little